Good day, miss. My name is Uday Savile. I think you are well aware of that. So we are here with you today. Interesting episode. I'm very interested in this episode, as the viewers would be, because maybe they are wondering, who do we have here for today? Yeah. So just before we get into the business of the day, I just want the intro from your side of the table. Usixelele uba, who are you and where are you coming from? just a brief, just an icebreaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Sure.
for having me today. Who am I? I think, the easiest way is to, obviously my name is Nathi.
Sure.
Nathi Mzola. Was born and bred in Cape Town, grew up Crossroads.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the roughest place in the black neighborhood of Cape Town or Western Cape. Well, this is Driving Conversation, which is a podcast that is led by Oluvuyonkosana. I am part of the co-hosting team. So I'll be interviewing you today, and also, what is it about? I'm sure if you was a SNAS or regular, right, which is they are growing, they know, but this is like a very insightful podcast, very mindful, very educational, and the reach that we're trying to reach is your young people, especially like the community, our black communities. So it's interesting to know. I think backstage we did tell you that as much as there are podcasts around the world, we do have like black inspiring stories out. So black doesn't mean minority to us. Black doesn't mean we are the second best. Black actually means we're comfortable enough that we know our stories should or mean something out there to the world. So ladies and gentlemen, she will tell us again about what is she doing, Nathi Mzola, which is the guest of today. But I just want to give a light to people that are watching or that will be watching that Nathi Mzola currently is a counsellor, right? If I have that correct, right? Yeah. So just about, not for like a long time, the shortest paragraph that you can give, or way like that you've taken in becoming a counsellor. So we have a counsellor today, which is you, right? Just tell us the road in getting there, and then we'll quickly go back to your background again, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after I'll start, I matriculated.
Sure.
2015, right? I think after matric, I wasn't certain, but I want to become... being a counsellor was never part of the plan. Let me start there. It was never part of the plan. I didn't even know, but there's something called the counsellor of some sort. You know? Growing up, I always knew, there's social work, there's that. Also, just for context, growing up, I wanted to read news.
Is it?
Because escolele, I was one of the best novel readers. So because of that, I wanted to read news. You know, I was so sure about can I read news. Then, obviously, went to high school, still had the same dream of reading news.
Sure.
However, I think life happened. Things changed, and after matric, my first choice of study was social work. I wanted to become a social worker because I wanted to work with disadvantaged kids specifically, and women.
Yeah.
So again, counselor was never part of the plan. So social work was my first choice. However, I got rejected, unfortunately, because social work. And then one of the lecturers from the institution I applied at was like, why don't you try psychology? Like, psychology? Nah, like I didn't have knowledge.
Yeah.
Let me say, like I didn't have knowledge about psychology. So I was like, how can I study something that I don't even know? You know? And then she was like, no man, study psychology. It's not far-fetched from what you wanted to do. Yeah, but we can still work with women and kids, even as a psychologist. She didn't tell me how long it will take. Now, from my understanding, I thought I'm just gonna do a 4-year degree, get my degree, and then I become a psychologist. That's not how things work, you know. So I studied psychology at Cornerstone Institute. It's a private institution. Did my undergrad PANA. It took longer than expected.
When you mean longer than expected, what do you mean?
It took more than 4 years for me to complete my degree.
How long is the program?
The program is 4 years.
4 years, okay.
I think I took 6 years. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, that's not a shocker. That's not a shocker because when I was in CPUT, we were just backstage. When I was in CPUT, I did mechanical engineering. There was a tall guy there in our classroom. They said he was there for about 9 years. He was still a first year. So I think right about then I was very scared of that course or that module. So I understand if you say that you took more than 4 years.
Yeah. It took longer, but then when I look back, I'm like, no man, it's okay. It was not a matter of repeating modules or anything like that, but I think it was a matter of molding my character, if I can say. Like when I look back now, so completed my degree and then I graduated. I think 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And then same time jumped into basic. So the course is called basic equivalent. It's the same level as honors, but this one is specifically for people who want to become registered counselors. So I did that. It's an 18 months course. So the first 12 months is theory, and then 6 months is your practicals, and then you write your board exams, and then you register with HPCSA, which is the Health Professional Council Board of South Africa. So even then, that took longer.
Is it?
That took longer. I remember theory, the first year that I had to do my theory. I was working. So again, one thing about me, after high school, I went to look for savings. I got a job and I've always worked. So I've always been that girl who has their own income. I don't like being dependent. No. So now I was working. So the thing is, I got accepted and then I got a job same month. So it was a matter of which one are you choosing. Now I'm like, I can't leave the job because I need the money to survive. All at the same time, I need to study. I remember having a conversation with my then manager because I took the job. So I sat her down and explained, but girl, I'm studying. I'm a student, and now the problem is my hours and my school hours are clashing. You know. So what do? I can't resign. At the same time, I can't leave school. So what do? And her words were, Nathi, choose something that's going to benefit you in the long run. Whatever decision you make, just know that the decision is going to affect your future as well. If working is going to benefit you in the long run, then choose that. But if your studies are going to benefit you in the next 5 years to come, choose that. You know, I think I was so lucky to get Mzola and I because she was so understanding. There will be times where I had to come to work an hour later, and she would understand that I was in class.
Is it?
So, that was the hardest time of my life because I remember my work started at 3. I was working US hours, so I was working in a call center.
3 a.m.
3 p.m.
Oh, 3 p.m.
Right? My shift starts at 3 p.m. until 12 a.m. So I'll get home around 2. But the thing is, my class ends at 3 p.m. They start at 12.
Are your classes in person or
They're
online?
in person. Unfortunately, there's no online class. And let me just give you a structure of how my day was,
Sure.
right? I wake up in the morning, let's say around 6. I'm a mother as well, by the way.
Sure.
Forgot to mention that. So I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, prepare my son for school. He's gonna leave probably just before 8 to go to school. As soon as he leaves, I prepare myself to go to attend classes. So I'm gonna leave my house, let's say at 9, because I'm going to Parklands and I'm gonna use e-bus. Understand? And the bus takes about 2 hours to get there. So I'm gonna leave my house maybe at 9 or 10, right? Get to Parklands, attend my 12 o'clock class from 12 o'clock until 3. Then at 3, remember my work shift starts at 3, and I'm working in town and I'm at Parklands.
Sure.
So I need to I'm using public transport. So my class is gonna end at 3. Quickly rush out of the class, run to catch a bus to town. Get to town, rush, get to work maybe around 4. Work until 1 because it's gonna get late. Finish at 1, get home around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I'm awake. Sometimes it's not a matter of you get home and you sleep. You have an assignment due. I can't sleep. I'll get home, do my assignment. Maybe I'll say 2, 3, 3:30. Then let me just close my laptop. Let me just sleep 4:30, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Let me wake up again.
Yeah.
That was my everyday life. It was not a matter of I know at least I'm gonna get a break next month. No, that was my everyday life for the entire year.
Yeah.
I had to do that. I remember this one time doing an assignment at 2
Yeah.
in the morning. I cried, closed my laptop and cried. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is not how life is supposed to be. My social life, I had no social life then. I could barely see my friends because I don't have time. I'm always tired.
Yes.
But I did it. I did that, as difficult as it was. Finished that and then did my practicals. That's another journey as well.
Okay.
But yeah.
Just before we go to your practicals, I just want to comment because I've taken in a lot from what you said. Yeah, man. People. Yes, that was a lot. I want to go to a particular. It's not a saying, but it's a thing that exists into humanity. They say that you might think you are having things the worst up until you meet people. Like I thought my factory life was the worst story in the world, but listening to that, I wouldn't cope. I'm so sorry, but thank God that you managed to pull through. And I think any Indo is determination and also knowing what you want, and also not actually being scared of where you're gonna land, or it's quite a maybe it's an escape. The struggle that you're coming from, like it exists somewhere somehow. That's why when it comes to a topic that is called poverty, I respect poverty for what it is, but it's a shame for what it does to people. But at some point, poverty is it kind of molds you in terms of discipline, and actually when you're out there to the field, like what exactly you want. So I just want to admire you for that. So yeah, if we can move forward, then I'm assuming now you've done studying, and then what's the next step to your journey after the whole entire story goes so on and so far? Like, what was your next step after that? I just want to know from that.
Okay, so now after finishing studies, I wrote my board exam and then I registered. So now I'm a registered counsellor. Plan going forward is to further my studies again. Do my master's in counseling psychology, become a registered psychologist.
Okay.
But if you had to ask me what is the end goal for this whole thing, I would love to have my own practice. Number one, I don't want to work for anyone.
Okay.
I want to have my own private practice. I've once said this before. Mental health is an issue to Black people specifically because I'm also Black. It's something that is perceived as it's not for us, it's for certain people of color.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, well, obviously I can't do it alone, but at least I can try to break that cycle, to say that it's not for certain people, it affects everyone. So coming from a Black community, coming from a Christian-based family, and here am I coming with science, telling us about mental health, depression, or what are those things, I want to break the stigma. I want to introduce this to our Black communities, to my younger Black sisters and brothers, that actually it does exist. I want to take this to the rural parts of the Eastern Cape, that actually it does exist. I was so shocked. I think it was a year before I went to the Eastern Cape. So my grandmother and I having a conversation about, she works at a school, she's part of the SGB committee at school, so we're just having a conversation and then she mentions certain kids from the village who goes to the school and what issues they have, and it's mental disorders. It's just that they were never diagnosed because no one knows what it is. So all of them, they're all put under this one bracket that I went to sister. But what do you mean, actually? Do you know what disorders they have? Do you know how is it treated? Do you know how it should be handled? And why do they go to mainstream schools instead of going to special schools? Because they don't know. I can't blame them. They don't know. You understand? So the end goal is to introduce this thing in Zanayo to say that, guys, it's not just for certain people of color, it's for everyone. And let us be a different generation.
You mentioned your younger sisters and your younger brothers. I just want to talk from a point of high school level, right? As I am a tutor as well in mathematics and physics and your English, I want to know, or obviously they would want to know, which subjects did Nathi Mzola do at high school in order for her to say, okay, I'm going to register for this course now, right? So I think that is more important to them for now, right? And then they will listen to this podcast as well, and then by even for a subject content matric or grade 11 or from grade 10, I understand subjects grade 10. So which subjects do they choose?
I think the main subject they would have to choose is life science, because psychology has to do with biology.
Okay.
So I think life science being the main. So I didn't do life science. I won't lie to people and say I did it. I didn't do life science. I did a whole mixed veg of subjects in high school. Again, as I said, I didn't have much knowledge in high school about this thing. Also, I was not driven by academics or grades or anything. If I can tell you something, 80 or 90% of people, you can ask anyone, who studies psychology, it is because of a trauma they went through.
Is it?
It's not just for interest's sake. 80% or 90 even. I can tell you right now that the first thing they ask you when you get to varsity is, why do you want to become a psychologist? How are you planning to use this qualification? And from the stories I've heard in class, I've realized that all of us experience trauma here.
Okay. I want to ask a question based on that. So, it's a trick question. I would say it's a trick question because it's only coming out of my mind. It's not something that is from a book or that's scientific or it's a ratio that is out there. Now, my concern and what I would like to know is, why would people who have suffered if that's the correct wording. Why would people who have suffered or who have went through such a trauma to specific a particular trauma would be more advisable to be the ones who actually cure other people's traumas?
I don't think I would say it's advisable, but to answer your why with people who have experienced such, it is because I think it's much easier, or I want to say better, but it makes much more sense to actually listen to someone who says, I've been through the same thing, than someone who have, even though with session you don't talk about your personal traumas. However, it's so easy to relate. I think the second thing I wanted to touch on was, the reason why I would think a lot of us who studied psychology suffered a specific trauma in life and chose just because, like, if you look maybe good dictionary, or I think the easiest definition of psychology is that it's a scientific study of human brain and behavior. Right. So it depends on how you interpret your trauma. The trauma has happened, what now? Right? That's how I looked at mine. Was that, okay, it happened, this happened, what's the way forward? What do we do now? Am I going to sit here and feel sorry for myself for the rest of my life? Or what am I going to do? Am I the only person who's gone through this? No, I'm not. Okay, I survived, I didn't die. What does that tell me? It means that you are given a second chance to do something better in life. So let me use that. Let me use my story to empower, inspire other people who may have gone through similar things. So it all depends on how you interpret it, and then, because a lot of them would be like, I went through this, and because I went through this, I've decided to study psychology because I want to help other people. That's the answer you would always get. So it's not necessarily advisable. There are people who have never suffered any traumas. They would say in Klambi, no, I love working with kids. I love children. I love helping other people. At church, I'm a Sunday school teacher. So I love, you understand? So not all of us have gone through or suffered a specific trauma. It's just most of us have suffered, and because of that experience, we wanna use it otherwise.
I wanna track back a bit, not related to the Black community. I wanna talk about Black communities in terms of the exposure, man. I won't lie in front of you, DT. I'm well exposed to industry therapy or psychology and all that. I am not exposed, not to that extent. Not that now, while I'm studying now, I'm exposed to educational psychology, right? Which is things that we find like about kids or learners having to suffer like into age like A and B. So I want to come back to Black community, and I've heard about it's part of your vision as well, but it's part of your drive, like about to introduce it to this Black community. So it's quite sad. It's quite sad. Like I wouldn't blame us for not knowing, because not knowing is not really like a big issue. Like things change, but when it comes to introducing it, like how do you think when Uzo achieve a lot? And I like the fact that you can't do this alone. Obviously, like you're gonna need people to back you up. You're gonna need more support, and like in the school is like if you go back to Eastern Cape, if when Nathi Mzola, you would advise maybe your next door neighbor, I don't think that would fly. Simply because isn't as fun like you are like upfront when you've studied psychology, so on and so forth, like you know how to tackle it, like, and then it's not like but push it to the right decision. Obviously, I'm sure, hopefully that's what I think. But to your line of work, as much as when we counselor and we psychologist, as much as you are that person, when obviously umuntu choose a decision whether uzoyenza lento okanye akazuyenza okanye they will like get better okanye they will refrain from something obanqanda kuyo. So I think kwi-black communities uyayazi mos basikhule kanjani, we know uba umuntu omdala has wisdom, kuye on a say. So to such extent, like I'm interested about like how are you gonna like do it? Like I wanna know so that obviously nomuntu obukeleyo ngoku would want to know, but okay, Nathi Mzola is very brave. Like uqala into that is we've always perceived but as a white man's game. Like but I exist outside, or like it only like exists. Benifuna ukubuza nangalento ke, I forgot to ask you backstage, but it's not a harsh one. But have you noticed that people who go for a psychologist and all that are people, us to black communities, are people who are mhlawumbi educated or mhlawumbi who have the means to afford the sessions of the psychologist? Have you noticed in the range?
You'd be shocked. Okay. Private psychologists are very expensive.
Okay.
I won't lie. Not a lot of people have the means to attend or afford them.
Yeah.
That I get. However, I think we are, I want to say we are lucky, but I think things are changing because we do have emisebenzini. Most companies, this other group that I'm part of. So basically what happens, PANA, it's companies referring their employees to see a counselor or a psychologist. So you get umdu ati mhlambi. Recently, clients that I've received, they would say mhlambi, I work kwa Heineken and I was referred to. It's an app, so the company finds us for their employees.
Okay.
So there are companies, even where I work, we do have something called Life Assist. So if one of the employees are going through something at work, even if it's personal or anything, they are given the opportunity, and it's free. So even the ones that I've seen, it's free. I think the company pays, but the employees don't have to pay. So certain companies are slowly coming to the party, but actually our employees are also human beings and they go through certain things. Let's have this thing for them. But again, when it comes to private private psychologists, that's another one. It's expensive, and a lot of people don't have knowledge about where am I even going to start, where am I going to find the psychologist you're talking about, how do I even begin the process? So that's another one.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned something of how this thing will be introduced.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever beat psychoeducation. Okay? If I had to start somewhere, I would definitely start in schools.
Yeah.
Because that's where our kids are at. I would definitely start in foundation phase. I would definitely psychoeducate our foundation phase teachers, because even them as well, they are trained to be teachers, not psychologists.
Yeah.
I would guess mhlambi if it happens a child in grade 1 gets an episode, a teacher wouldn't know what to do. Even though in government schools we do have psychologists, but they are not school based, where we say the psychologist is there for 8 hours from 8 till 3. They have to be called by the school. Kids have to be referred, certain paperwork needs to be filled. So what do I mean by starting at school? I mean psychoeducating the teachers first about mental health, different mental health disorders or mental health issues. I still do believe that there are a lot of kids who have mental issues, but they are not diagnosed because no one knows. there are a lot of kids who are in mainstream schools who would benefit more in special schools, but no one knows. And also, we have a stigma, a location that there's something wrong with you. And also, parents are scared to take their kids there because of the numbers of Gaza, but it's not benefiting the child for them to be in a mainstream school. Yeah,
of course.
So the stigma, so as I said, I would start in schools. That's where that's where my target would be, because I know the kids are there, the teachers are there, and kids spend most time there. Then the second thing would be parents as well, because it doesn't help for me to stick at school but the child sleeps at home. Psychoeducate the parents as well in our communities that, did you know there's something called ADHD, and these are the symptoms that you look at. I remember this one time I was doing my internship at Metro North Education District. So we would go to schools, certain schools. So one of my supervisors, who was an educational psychologist, she had this vision of introducing, especially, and she wanted to specialize in mental disorders, your ASD, your ADHD and stuff like that. I remember we went to this one school and we called a meeting with grade R parents only, and then we spoke about ADHD. So when she explained what it was and then she said the signs, I remember one of the parents, and she was like, "Hey, yes, ban unje endlini." And Tina at home, we thought, it's okay, it's being a kid, they will grow up. But now that they're listening to the signs and symptoms of ADHD, now it's a, and then she asked, the second question she asked was, "So ma'am, what do I do if my child has those symptoms you're talking about?" Because people don't know, and we can't blame them, because they don't know, and no one wants to tell them. So psychoeducation to say, "Ma'am, such things do exist, and there is help out there as well. It's not a matter of you are black, you would never have mental health. As long as you're a human being and you breathe, you have emotions and feelings, you are bound to have mental health issues." So it's gonna take a while. I know it's not gonna be easy. I know there'll be maybe some sorts of rejections, or some sort of, you think you know better, or you think you're better than us, or whatever the case may be. But even if I win 10 people or 10 kids, at least my job will be done. My target is not to go the entire South Africa. At least if I can say, or they can say, "Hey, Crossroad, we had that girl, Geshem, she helped us and did 1, 2, 3. Then nobody saying at Crossroad, at least people will know, or people will say, "Hey, there's a girl called Ban Ban. I think she knows these things." That's what I want.
That was very warm and very heavy for me. That is why I said, but I wanted this episode, like I can't carry it on my own. You are carrying the episode now as I'm listening. So because your story doesn't just end like where we are talking now. Like I'm imagining, like, for viewers to now that they're listening to this, right? And also inspiration, and I could hear about, do you know, upper election, what I've noticed is that dreams, they do die. So listening to someone who's willing to put up a fight up until God knows what. So you just mentioned whatever the number that you get, whatever, but as long as you would have made an impact, a positive impact in your community. So, and it's not, and you don't even say about your community as in this place that you stay in. You're just talking about in general, anyone who wants to ride along, like on your journey. I think it's quite a beautiful journey, like and I would say you should not, and you must not stop too. Like, please continue, man. I wanna go back a bit. Glendo yoba Okay, obviously you've done your practicals, right? I just want us to engage in Jiglo about how do practicals work of being a counselor, like Zibanja, like do you get actual people about this done man, okay, I'm gonna act as if you're symptoms or when you go to sin like Banja.
No, you get real people, real problems. So you get placed to school. Okay. How it happened with us was they first asked you about what is your interest line of work? What are you mostly interested in? So that people would say maybe I'm interested to work in a rehabilitation center, I'm interested in working in hospital or in an NGO, or I'm interested in working with children. So my thing was I want to work with children, and it was specific that I want teenagers. So I was placed with district. So they don't place you in a specific school, they place you in a district that our school works with.
Okay, just sorry to cut you off. So since Uchi, like you have a choice like to choose about where, like which comfort zone of so are you telling me now about like people that you studied with, like your peers, like Bona, but we different regions?
We are all in different places. Okay. Some are in high school, some are in primary, some are in hospitals, some are in NGOs, some are in church, wherever they need counselors. So we're not all based in one space. Yeah. Okay.
So I want to know, since you've said that you did get clients, or like, if I can call the patients, if I'm wrong, then
clients.
Yeah, clients. Yeah. Then in terms of safe space, I understand, like being a human, when you look at a particular person, but I don't feel safe with this individual. But then the I feel safe na layer individual. I want them. Like Londo, like Yamanja, do you get such cases? Because that's curiosity. Like I want to know. No. Like in terms of like safe space with you and a client.
So how it worked with me was, this is how the district works, right? You are placed in a district, you are given a supervisor, right? Your supervisor is your psychologist. It's not your psychologist, but it's a psychologist, right? So obviously, education district, they work in schools, and schools are divided into circuits. So there's going to be circuit 1, circuit 2, circuit whatever, right? So if man say law circuit has maybe 20 schools. For example, I was in circuit 6, which is the Mfuleni area. So all the schools, both primary and high school in Mfuleni, and some schools in your Belleville. I think 5 primary schools in Belleville, right? So we would get called in schools. As I worked in a multidisciplinary team. So we had a psychologist, social worker, teacher advisor, and then me, the intern counselor. So we worked as a team, and then we get called into school for whatever case it is, and then we sit as a team and discuss the case, and then we see who fits the case. So if it's a matter of a child not having a birth certificate, we know social worker needs to intervene. If it's a matter of diagnosing a child, psychologist is needed. If it's a matter of a child having issues in classes, we need teacher advisor. Then if it's a counseling issue or mental health issue, we call in Nathi, the counselor. So I saw different clients, different grades, different experiences. I once had a client who was high, like they were in grade 12, and I could tell that they're high, and it's just me and him in the room, But I've never experienced a situation where I feel unsafe, For me, I take it as if when you come into my space for a session, this may sound a little bit but I'm in the authoritative level than you coming to me because you need help. You understand? So I will try by all means not to feel intimidated by you because you're coming to seek help from me. And most of them, especially in high schools, you would think they're my age mates or we're friends or whatever. But I made sure that even though I'm going to try to make you comfortable as my client and jokes and all of that, but there should be a line where I drawn, like I'm not your friend. I'm not going to say to you, but obviously I need to have boundaries.
Because about that question that I just asked, really a safe space, I think is or relate and Alena in terms of like to, how can I put this? Like irrelevancy and nobody relate kanjani. Like we were discussing this we were backstage about, you're gonna have a pool of people who would think about, okay, lo muntu uzonceda ngoku, yes uzonceda, but I don't think they would quite relate to my story or my situation. So do you get such things, or have you ever came across nje into enjalo uba okay, umuntu lona ndize kuye for a session doesn't think about we're gonna relate, or we relate just because of a certain color, maybe natural color of your skin, or certain gender. Because I would think maybe if I would tell you something, then maybe telling Uvuyo, which is a guy, I just want to know, you don't.
Okay. So the reason why I'm smiling is because I was thinking the other day, and I said this to my previous supervisor, that what's weird is the reason why I chose psychology is happening, and to see that manifest is weird. And most of my clients, the stories they come on, I relate. It's weird. Be it a teenager who's gonna tell me about the relationship they have with their parent, and I'm like, damn, been there. I can't say it to them, but I relate. Two, when it comes to, especially where I'm working right now, 90% of our students are white, right? And black. I thought about that in the beginning, and I thought about it in a way that what if I felt intimidated by the students? Because I've been studying at a private institution. I've studied before in a private institution, and I've seen how most of them are privileged, Now, having them to come to my sessions, will they trust me? Will they feel safe or whatever? How I comforted myself was they are coming to you to seek help. Nothing else. You are in a position that you are in because you've earned it. You're not a fly by night. You know your story. You know what you're doing. The minute a person comes to you, their skin color is not part of the conversation. It's not part of the session. Forget who they are. See a person as a person seeking help. Whether they come from a privileged or more privileged background than yours, or less privileged than yours, that should not determine how the session is going to go about. You are coming to me because you need help, sir, and you trusted that I'm going to help you. So let's get you help. The fact that I'm black and you're white is not going to work here.
Quite insightful. Those questions that I just asked you, they are coming from a person who grew up in the community. Because I would believe, because since there are norms about that we grew up in, those questions were just out of curiosity. And obviously we needed someone like you. We needed you for you about Australia about, okay, this is what is happening. Then just an easy question, Jay, like how would you describe or can you differentiate between a therapy, a counselor, and then a psychologist? Like how do those things differ? Because I don't think I'm well aware of that. I don't think our viewers are well aware of that.
Okay. Yeah. So our work is quite similar. The three of the people we've just mentioned. It's all about mental health. We have counseling sessions. We have workshops. We do psychoeducational trainings and so forth. The only difference is that a counselor, let's say a counselor and a therapist and a psychologist, a counselor cannot diagnose a person. they can only screen and then refer to a psychologist.
Oh, okay.
So as a counselor, I can't assess you and then say you have PTSD. I have to refer you to a psychologist.
Okay.
They are the one that diagnose people. So the difference between us, one is so when we assess people, we use certain test batteries.
Yeah.
So the certain test batteries as a counselor that I use and cannot use and can be used by a therapist or a psychologist.
Okay.
So I think our work only differs in the fact that I can't diagnose, they can diagnose.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. And then, just before we go to a closing, so that we close this in a high note. Now, I just want to ask you about what does healing means to you, or it means to Nathi Mzola? Like healing, essentially, what does it mean to you?
I think that's quite a good question for someone who's in a healing journey.
Yeah.
I think healing to me means acknowledging what has happened.
Yeah.
And knowing that I cannot change it. It has happened.
Yeah.
And it means forgiveness as well, whether you are forgiving yourself or the next person, but it includes forgiveness and actually striving or looking forward to the next chapter of your life. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's not a one night, and there's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
It's different for all of us. But I think for me, it's the fact that I acknowledge that this thing happened, and it's time I move on. I think I mentioned earlier on that the trauma has happened, but what do you do about that?
Yeah.
What happens next? Because it's not going to change the fact that it happened, but what matters is what do you do after it has happened.
Yeah.
So for me, healing is a journey, healing is a process, and it's not an easy or a nice process because it's uncomfortable. You have to revisit certain things you thought you have buried.
Yeah.
But healing, it goes to each and every corner of your life. If you really want to heal, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, talking about or dealing with certain things that has happened. But I do believe that in the end, maybe it's a beautiful and bright light, and it's very lighter as well to you as a person.
I think you said it all. I just wanted to end on that high note, so that so I would be sabotaging you if maybe I would ask you another question or say or else if maybe you have something you want to say out there to the young ones. And also, I think I have one more. So what would you say to the people like me who think that they're not going through a certain thing, but they know why they're going through a certain thing, but they don't want to admit it? Because I believe people like you are actually there for help. But kubakho abantu who don't want to talk, kubakho abantu who don't want to share. Do you think maybe people have been pushed away, maybe the surroundings zabo? Because I do believe people do share things with their surroundings, but we know that how that ends. You share, then you find out, me and we are no longer friends now, because so what would you say to such people, to such individuals in general?
If I hear you correctly, what would I say to people who are going through things? They know they're going through things, but they don't want to talk about those things. Talk to who? To a psychologist, to a professional, or to anyone?
To anyone, and also to a professional.
Okay. Obviously, you would have your own reasons why you wouldn't want. You don't just talk to anyone, you talk to people you trust. Number one. You talk to people who create a safe space for you to talk. You know that if I tell over about the situation, I won't be judged or anything. But if I tell Nathi, it's going to be a different story. So even if it's outside professional space, it's just conversation between people. You have to first trust the person. Number two, it's so easy to put on a mask during the day as people. You know you're going through things, but during the day it's so easy. You know, I'm this bubbly person who laughs. I always make a joke and say, "Umko qala ngora past 11 ebusuku," when there's no noise, there's no one. It's just you and your thoughts. And it creeps in to say, "Hi, I'm still here. By the way, you've been days the entire day, the tutor, the joker, the this, but we are still here as your problems, and we're not going away until you deal with us." So it's up to you again if you're going to live that life. But it gets to a point for everyone.
Yes.
It gets to a point. Unfortunately, for some people, that's when they end up taking their life because they're tired. They're tired of putting a mask in the afternoon, and then later on, they have these things that come back to remind them, "Hey, we're still here." So it gets to a point, and there are people who come to therapy and say, "Hey, I don't even know where to start. How does this therapy thing work? So do you ask me questions? Are you gonna tell me what my problem is?" And one thing I always tell people who come to my space is that I am not God. Please don't expect magic from me. I don't know your life. You know yourself more than me. So you came here because something said you must come here, or something pushed you to come here. And if you're not gonna be open with me, unfortunately I can't help you. The only thing I'm here for is to guide you and support you in this journey that you want to take. You know your life. I'm not gonna tell you do this, don't do this, do this, because at the end of the day, it's whose life, it's your life, not Nathi's life. So I'm just here as some sort of support to the journey, to ensure that you are still on the right track, to ensure that I hold you accountable, because therapy holds you accountable as well, you know, for what you said you want to do. A lot of people will always ask, "So how does this thing work? So do I come to you and then you ask me questions and the example that I always make is that if you come to me and say, "Nathi, I want to lose weight," why do you want to lose weight? Why is it important for you to lose weight? What's going to happen if you don't lose your weight? And what's going to be different about you if you... Because those are questions we don't ask ourselves, because we're always in a rush. No, I wanna become a doctor. Why? You know, why? You know, I remember when I wrote my thesis, my professor asked, so we were asked to submit a topic that we're going to base our research on. So I gave this guy my topic, and then he was like, "What's going to happen if there's no research done on this topic? What do you think is going to happen? Why this topic specifically?" So that helps you as well. Your why helps you to hold you accountable and to keep you track and to make sure that you stay truthful as well in whatever you do in your journey as well. So it's all about being honest with yourself. It's so easy, as I've said, to put on a mask during the day, but you have to be honest with yourself. I can't force a person to come to therapy. If they say, "No, I don't think I need therapy," it's okay if you think so. I'm not gonna convince you and say, "I used to think like that," but nah.
Nathi, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for joining the Driving Conversations. And we do need such conversation. And I'm trying, Jay, you just spark a light, maybe it was in a thunderstorm. Not even a single episode. I don't remember not laughing in any episode. But I've been a listener and I think I've done a good job, and I played a role of being myself as well and being a role of Abandababwele, and also asking, because I'm sure people are wondering, but okay, I wish you would ask this question. I wish so you've been amazing, man. Thank you so much once again, and we hope to maybe in the next couple of episodes or whatsoever see you again if that's possible.
I'm sure that's possible, but thank you so much.
Well, before we begin, I just want to sneak in one. Okay. So for abanye abantu who are not really professional counselors, because we do have abantu who are actually counseling abanye abantu, because in counseling you don't really have to be like akudingeki ude uyifundela yes xa uyifundele uba na more skills but then session of counseling, we do have them on a daily basis. Yeah, like on my day, with the problem. Yeah, and then I would have to act as a counselor because a friend. Yeah, and you'd have abanye abantu abazoza nabo. So just advice to abantu that to friends that try to help as any friends. Yeah, how do you not necessarily deal or like uzigcina njani as heavy secrets that abantu lash into when you find uba namhlanje you talk with a 17-year-old ixelele about issues yabo, then nangomso uthethe nomnye axelele with ezinye issues, like they pile up on a daily basis. So sifana phi strength to hold zonke ezi problems abantu abazideliverisha kubo.
Why would you do that to yourself if you're not a professional counselor?
No,
That's shooting yourself on the foot, because you just said it now, ne, that you are not a professional counselor. Maybe you're a friend, and then there's people coming to you with their issues, and then they pile up, and then you find yourself stressed. Hence, I said in the beginning, I think we're having a conversation backstage that counselors need counselors, psychologists need psychologists. So even myself as a professional, I have someone else that I go and because I can never ever sit with other people's problems for ixesha. I would go mad. So if you are not a professional and you are acting as a professional, you're gonna get tired because you're acting.
But what about the friendship? Because
it's different in friendships, because I can have a conversation with my friend about a certain thing, but we can't always every day. It's a counseling session with my friend. Every time you and I have conversations all about certain goal that you have, then go and seek professional help, my friend, because I am not equipped for this. Because now you will be putting yourself into that it's gonna come back and bite you. I can't act as a doctor just because people don't know, or maybe I'm in the rural area, therefore I know how to stitch, then I can do it. It's gonna come back and bite me at some point because I'm not trained and well equipped for this thing.
Okay,
so don't do that to yourself.
With if friends that sometimes pour into as any friends, so as the one who receive you have to maybe at some point show me.
Because it seems like you've got a lot going on, and if our friendship is going to be based on counseling you every time, you might as well go seek a professional help, because I am not equipped for that. You can't tell me that you have a friend and every day the only thing you talk about that's not friendship.
The extreme case ladies but they do happen like as on
it can be once in a while. I understand once in a while it happens, but my friend is going through A, B, and C, and they just need someone to talk to. And I'm there as a friend. But it shouldn't be 60% where relationship is your issues, and then 40% are other things. You're not even going to be able to enjoy those things because there's this thing that's happening on the other side. So it's clearly so now I can't even enjoy myself because I need to act as a counselor. Go seek help, my friend. You need it.
Okay. No, because I had to ask Leno because it happens. Like with friendships, if friends become the counselors.
Be careful of becoming a counselor in a friendship space, in a friendship setting. You can't always be the receiver. When you call
now we tell the friend.
So what are we doing here?
Is it not a friendship?
It can't always be that. Every time it's counseling sessions between the two of us as friends.
No, but okay, must be police, but we are thinking each and every time sidibana by counseling what. Yes, we do have fun.
Even if I end every time we meet whenever you, but 80% of our friendship is based on your issues and my issues.
That's a disaster.
Nah, I have friendship learners by me.
Okay, I know. The really advice I want you should just go
and study go and see how. If when there is a friend you love counseling so much, go and study so that you can be skilled and equipped for this line of work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nathi.
Yeah, unfortunately, I want to say something before we go. Unfortunately, I thought I was not going to laugh in this episode, but
Oh,
thank
the
you.
emotion.
Thank you.
The emotion.
Church.
Oh, and also thank you, Nathi. Like, we don't have a lot of female guests now, so I just want to say thank you for honoring the invite here.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
inviting
it was a
me.
nice conversation.
Yeah, it was
Shout
really
out to
nice.
female guests that was our last year, which was we only had two. Only Lifunzo kunye noZimkhiphi.
No, not two, three
Three.
females.
Three plus kubana kanene umntana linamandla. Yeah, so we need more of voices in. I was so
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. It was very nice, and thank you for the questions.
Sure.
Wow.
Shout.